In crypto, there's two types of people. Those who buy the top and sell the bottom on extreme fear, and those that hang on for dear life and hope that the best will work out for them as they listen to talking heads on YouTube. In this video, we're going to look at specific examples of when to get out, when to get in. It is a main focus here because at the end of the day, the whole point that you're coming to crypto, and like myself, is to make some money from the space and see it succeed long term as well. So without further ado, make sure you've smashed or tapped the like button, your choice. You get an option there. And also subscribe to the channel. Use the links in the description for anything that I'm talking about today, including the Bybit giveaway, $4,000 to you guys only that are viewers of the channel. Instagram and Twitter, use the official links so you don't get scammed out there. There is only one account. And of course, our free newsletter, which is going out today. Links are all in the top of the description. Let's crack on with selling and buying cryptocurrencies. So let's just use something really simple, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. If you've been following the channel for a long time, you know that we're looking at this very regularly. Just recently, we're looking at the higher lows come in here. As I say, if it has a chart, you'll be able to get the information from it. You'll be able to decipher what's going on. We can see the lows higher and higher and higher, and then we have a breakout pattern forming here. Guess what? We broke out. So now we've gone from extreme fear to just being fearful. And ideally, we get back into the greed, but we want to be buying in a macro bull when the market is in extreme fear. And so we use a couple of things here. Wyckoff analysis is one of those that I love. And of course, my Gann analysis as well. So I've got my 50% level, and Bitcoin closed the day above the 50%. So that's the one of the macro views here. So from the major crash low in June to the November top. And so what I've been saying this whole period here, because we got this 50% in as the top was put in at 69,000, started to fall, we could see that 48,800, call it 49,000, was the level that I wanted to see Bitcoin get above. And it did. It happened to close very close to that level, 48,929. So it's just above that 50%. So the next target is 54,000. So talking about today, the lows and selling at the lows, this was the extreme fear, the most extreme fear in months. You can see back 4th of December using our chart up here and flick back to the 4th. So we come in on the 5th because it's recorded the next day at 18. And of course, around the following day, 16th, we also had extreme fear as well. Then we had extreme fear come in on the 11th. So the 11th was a higher low. Remember this stuff so that you can look back on it when it comes to your altcoin portfolio. The 11th is on this day here. So this day is moving up, and it was the close, or the day that came down 1, 2, 3 days from the 9th, 10th, 11th. So you got, 8th, 9th, 10th. So this was extreme fear as well. All right, so I'm making a really strong emphasis on this on many videos because this was the time that a lot of people were selling out. But as you can see, the market pretty much didn't trend much lower from that point. So 47,000 around that level was the low, and we only made it down to about 45 and a half. So only another $1,500 from that point before we've started to take out our first bullish target to the upside. Now, if you sold and you're really wanting to get back into these markets, take a look at the Wyckoff cycles. So of course, the whole idea here is you want to be buying when the market's oversold, and we can tell that from the extreme sentiments here from the fear and the greed. So there was extreme fear when the market was actually trending higher. All right, then we look at selling on the overbought, and we head down back to one of these accumulation schematics. All right, so we've had some secondary tests, some STs. You can see being marked up on the chart here. We don't know at the time. We just have to look towards potentially getting one of these secondary tests, which just means the market is trying to test those lower prices again. And so I had a couple of question marks thinking maybe that's it, and also had the automatic rally here as well. So we got into that one there, looking at the rally. And then these tests have come in, and now we're starting to trend back higher, break our downtrend, break our swing downtrend to give us that uptrend. So that's a good sign as well. And what comes next is looking for another test to the upside. And if we get this longer accumulation, then potentially we get this fall again into some sort of spring or another test. So if you have sold out, keep a lookout on the chart, look at your Wyckoff schematics, look at your fear and greed index, and just start to look at how these prices come into the market. How fast will it accumulate? Will we get a Christmas rally? Potentially, this is the Christmas rally starting from the 17th. Do we see a move up, take out this high here, maybe even try to test the 54,000, but then you might see it fade again. This period right here as we head up, and it's timing out pretty nicely within this Christmas rally if it happens to be so, we'll get extreme excitement. We'll start to get into that extreme greed stage, or at least into some sort of high neutral or greed area, and people get really excited and start to buy in again. Then they'll see the market fall and possibly sell out. So they'll buy high and sell low. Remember, this happened in September. It also happened in May and in June, where the market started to recover. People got really, really, really bullish at this point here, and then it fell again. So keep a lookout on these charts. It happens all the time and time again. Now, how you can stay bullish when everyone else is super, super bearish, obviously zoom out. Look at the big picture. Within that big picture, if you want some fundamentals to look at, check out the niches that are going bananas at the moment. You can see that there is a lot of money still flowing into cryptocurrency. So article here, Thoma Bravo leads 110 million funding for Figment at a 1.4 billion valuation. These guys are in the financial space, taking cuts from all staking revenue that gets generated. So they make about 10 million in revenue per month, looking at around 100 million per year. Majority of our staking revenue comes from our institutional clients. Next article, crypto industry is the mergers and acquisitions are up huge this year. So a lot of companies are buying other crypto companies, especially when the market is down. And then stablecoin supply grew by 388%. So you can look at this as a bearish or a bullish scenario, but we're in a macro bull cycle. So the news is obviously going to tailor towards the bull side of things. Now, what I mean by bearish, the way I look at it anyway, is if you're getting all this money printed out and this is the only thing that is buying Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, so you've got a lot of this stable coin that's being printed, then eventually that could collapse at some point. But my outlook is that we're in a bull market or macro bull market with the corrections along the way. So with all this extra money, has to go somewhere, goes into DeFi projects, goes into other financial projects. Maybe it's buying Bitcoin, and this is all starting to push the markets up as well. Now, if we look at the DeFi space, you can see these major players up here: Curve, Uniswap, PancakeSwap. A lot of total value locked: 22 billion for Curve, nearly 9 billion for Uniswap, 5.5 for Pancake, and their market cap to total value is also looking pretty sweet at the moment as well. Now, if we want to look at cryptos which are going to make it, we've sold. This is what I look out for. All right, so we've looked at AVAX on the channel before. This was the extreme fear. It bounced on the 50%. And people are selling on the 50%. Now, of course, there's a difference there. If it breaks down, that could be a sell signal for our portfolios. AVAX, as an example, it has bounced off that level. So if this is all tying in, and this is the way I'm looking at the market, then we get this bounce and maybe we start to see it fade again. If we're still in this macro bull for these cryptos, and I'm not saying that AVAX is a buy, it has extended a very, very, very long way, but the 50% is nice. We want to see it hold up, and this goes with any other crypto that you're looking at, hold up at these levels, accumulate, and then start to break higher. But if we see Bitcoin, like we just discussed a moment ago, start to move higher, fail, come back down, and maybe base out again, maybe test some levels, maybe come up, just go this sideways accumulation for another few weeks, few months, and then these cryptos start to break down and break down past their 50%, then that might be something that I would avoid as a crypto. This is just looking at the chart specifically, not as the company itself. All right, so this is just purely looking at who is buying and who is selling based on the chart. We looked at Luna 12 days ago. All right, so that's the video there. And Luna 12 days ago was starting to break down from this high. And the main thing I was looking at here was a logarithmic breakout. And you can see that we've gone on this massive tear after the logarithmic breakout occurred. So this is just joining the highs together on a log chart. If I take the log off, you can see that it broke above, came back under, and it's taken off from that point. But logarithmic breakouts tend to go absolutely nuts. And I don't want to be on the end of this thing as it's coming towards the end. We don't know where that is. And it could go from 90 to 180, but the risk starts to increase at this point. All I'm saying here is to look out for these sorts of things, which I'm going to get to in just a second. So we've got to see what we want to have and then see if we can identify that earlier. That's all it comes down to in trading and investing, and then starting to mitigate that risk as well. So we got these breakout points, away Luna went. A logarithmic breakout, that would be the ideal scenario. Otherwise, we look for a bounce at its 50%. Crashed through, came back above and closed. All right, it's back above its previous all-time highs as well. So it bounced on the old all-time highs. That's a good sign. So we needed to give it a couple of days breathing room as well. That one's taken off. Let's have a look at some that aren't in this super bullish scenario. And you probably heard me talk about DOT before, especially on the channel, looking at DOT just recently as the next Luna. That's the pattern I'm looking for here. I want to see it accumulate and break out. Will it get those same gains? Who knows? Who knows? But the idea is that we want to start buying things as they look like they're starting to break out. All right, so we've got this little bit of a low pattern in. There is November 29th and the 6th. So this is the extreme fear bar. That was when Bitcoin crashed. It fell under the 50%. So ideally, let's get it back above 50%, break the downtrend, break some weekly swing tops or daily swing tops to begin with, and then start to accumulate for that next breakout leg. And if this does happen to put a low in here, well, guess what? You got a low, a higher low, and then another higher low with higher highs. So this is the early stage that I look for. Look at FTT. I'm sure you could see something similar there. Higher highs, higher lows on a macro scale here. This is a weekly chart, not this 15 minutes, 4 hours, 1 hour BS. Macro for big moves. And you can see the volume is starting to wane on the way down. So it's starting to dry up. Hopefully we get a close above the 50%. FTT is on that list. I still look to this one, although it hasn't been performing very well. Solana also moved up. And then we look for those areas that if we're wrong, get the hell out of there. Look at the low here on Solana. There's a low at 115, call it 116. If it breaks these lows, breaks the 50%, we were wrong. Get the hell out of there. Let's move on to something else. Take the loss, suck it up, move on. Otherwise, we look for nice entry points and then look to get in higher and watch to see how the market reacts to these higher points. Last one here is crypto.com. Bounce on the 50% so far. But as you can see, these 50%, or where the market crashed on Bitcoin, and obviously the rest of the market starts to follow, a lot of it, crashed down onto their 50% levels. So ideally, we want to see it consolidate and then start to work its way back higher. And that gives us the early warning sign in front of the rest of the market. So we've looked at the macro. Bitcoin's looking all right. The fundamentals across the crypto space, as we covered here with a few of the DeFi and fintech projects, there's money coming into the space. There's a lot of money coming in. DeFi, looking pretty sweet at the moment. This can all change, of course. You know, I'm not a fanboy with one direction only that crypto is going to save the world, but over time, these things will happen. And we just have to be prepared for the ebbs and the flows in the market. So that's what I'm looking for with these cryptocurrencies. And I'll continue to bring you more on the channel as well. So make sure you've hit subscribe, bell notification icon, like the content up if you find some value from it. Join us for the free newsletter down below. And of course, the Bybit giveaway. I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.